Hello everybody, I'm Teldae and this is my Vampire Heavy Gunner guide for Fallout 76. Big thank you to the fandom Wiki for lots of fact checking and nukesanddragons.com for their build planner. So what is this build all about? It's a high health, power armor and heavy gun build that uses the Vampire legendary effect to stay alive in the middle of the fight. This build is suitable for all PvE activities in the game. I play with pacifist mode enabled, so I have no idea how it will perform in PvP. If you're already familiar with Fallout 76, you can use the timestamps to skip ahead. For new players or people considering new alts, do keep watching. Let's talk weapons. This build can start working with a simple 1-star. Vampires is a legendary prefix, which is what a 1-star comes with. More on that in the next section. My recommended weapon is a 50 cal machine gun, which has a minimum level of 25 and maximum 45. It has a good balance between clip size, rate of fire, damage range, accuracy, and ammo crafting amounts. I recommend only switching the receiver to prime when you are fully established with the build and are capable of launching nukes solo and farming unimpeded in a nuke zone. You could always switch it back to regular .50 ammo, but that's wasting resources. Regarding other heavy guns, the minimum levels range from 20 to 30, so feel free to use any weapon until you get a heavy gun that you like. It does not make a big difference at the lower levels. On to legendary effects. Currently in the game you can get up to a 3-star legendary. 1-star is prefix only, 2 stars have prefix and major, and 3-star weapons have prefix, major and minor modifiers. Vampire effect is a prefix, so there's no room for choice here. Under major modifiers, the best is explosive. It adds 20% of the base damage as a small AoE explosion wherever a bullet lands, with a small penalty to weapon spread. This penalty is small and easily ignored because of the playstyle. More on that later. Next best choice is 10% aiming damage, which is a flat increase to damage as long as you're aiming while shooting. It has no penalties. 25% faster fire rate does exactly what it says on the box. The hidden downside to this is faster weapon decay and greater ammo usage to deal the same amount of damage as the other modifiers. Under minor modifiers, the best is faster reload speed. The build relies on bullets hitting enemies to keep the health regen buff up. Faster reload is also a passive DPS increase. The two damage reduction modifiers lose a lot of their value in the late game, when you have high damage resist values from power armor and mutations already, so due to diminishing returns. But I won't say no to more damage resist if I can have it. The leveling build, linked in description, takes full advantage of Nukes Dragons' leveling roadmap feature. Scroll down on the link page to find it. Every level from 2 to 57, you can choose a perk that the build needs, so you're never stuck wasting a level up. Should you get lucky with the perk card packs, which are rewarded from leveling or seasonal milestones, then have a look at the full build link for what other perks you need. The leveling build has a lot of weight reduction perks because calibrated shocks, which you need for power armor carry capacity, needs 5 stable flux per leg when crafting, and loose mods are quite a rare drop. This is not easily obtained by new or low level players, so these perks should help your adventures until you're ready to upgrade your power armor to endgame. In Fallout 76, players can use power armor from the moment they step out of the vault. The level restrictions listed here are related to the armor pieces that get attached onto the power armor chassis. This is my recommended progress path. Radar power armor is the lowest level to start with. A full set is also rewarded through the main quest line. T51B has the highest ballistic and energy resistance you can get until you start unlocking T65 pieces. The legendary perk What Rads will help with the lower radiation resistance of T51 armor and is part of the full build anyway. The wiki has a lot of good info on possible locations for armor pieces, mods and plans, so be sure to check it out. Power armor chest pieces have the highest damage resistance values, so always upgrade that first. The internal database is a passive bonus to intelligence which increases XP gain. The helmet mod gets replaced with targeting HUD for endgame to highlight enemies and help find them, so you can keep the adrenaline perk buff up. Reactive plates reflect 50% of all melee damage back to the attacker and fits in well with the tanky in-your-face build, and this mod stays for endgame. The full build squeezes maximum damage out of the perk cards, excluding stealth-based bonuses. The idea is to kick down the door, charge in and start killing. The weight reduction perks in the build are there to enable you to carry a selection of heavy guns and their associated ammo, cryo later for the queen, or a high damage option like a furious faster fire rate minigun, etc. Keep in mind that fusion cores also benefit from batteries included. The build includes 6 mutations, hence the mutation perks from luck and charisma. Life Giver is taken for a permanent max HP increase because the vampire effect regens health based on percentage of max HP. Ricochet is not taken for the damage reflection because it's really a tiny amount, but because if it procs, the entire incoming attack is negated. For legendary perks, Ammo Factory is almost compulsory for bullet users. This card can be changed out for people using Gatling lasers. 2 stat bonus cards are taken. You may choose any of the stats that need 6 or more perk points. If considering a hyper build, you might choose luck and intelligence, for example. What rads should be leveled to rank 2 and can receive more attention later. It will enable extended farming around nuke zones for ultrasight ammo mats. Electric Absorption does 3 things for you against lasers and other energy attacks. It negates the attack completely, recharges your fusion core a bit, and grants a few seconds of health regen. The last card is Funky Duds. Poison resistance is not found on normal gear or perks. With recent updates to daily ops, sometimes you get poison clouds wherever an enemy dies, and these clouds will ramp up their poison damage as you stay in them. In confined spaces, it's difficult to get out quickly and can actually kill you. Another benefit of having poison resistance is against rad scorpions, stingwings, mylo queens, and the scorch beast queens crop dusting. Regarding other options, follow through on Nukes Dragons has an incorrect duration listed. The effect only lasts 10 seconds at all ranks, which makes it pointless for a non-stealth build. Taking one for the team is an option, but take note it does not work if solo or even solo in a team. You must have a teammate. The mutations for this build are aimed at utility and survival, with minor damage output increases like Speed Demon's reload buff. Note that player movement bonus is capped at 20%, so taking Speed Demon means you don't have to take squad maneuvers in Charisma. The benefit of Carnivore ties in well to compensate for the increased hunger from Speed Demon in that the hunger bar, health restoration and buff effect from meats are all doubled, and times 2.5 if grouped with another mutant due to stranger numbers. Herd mentality turns into a positive effect even if the player is alone in a public group. The desired power armor is T65, unlocked with gold bullion after completing the Wastelanders storyline. Targeting HUD to find enemies to kill and keep your adrenaline buff going, reactive plates for free melee damage reflection, and calibrated shocks because once you climb into power armor your backpack stops working. There are no beneficial mods on arms for this build. After recent updates, power armor can now be legendary, and you can craft it yourself. The best prefix is Overeaters with damage reduction percentage. Vanguards is in second place because the build has very high damage resistance values, and getting more on top of that has a small impact because of the sliding scale on damage calculation. Under major modifiers, I'd recommend slower hunger and thirst to combat the effects of Speed Demon, and to try and keep your hunger and thirst 81% or above for as long as possible for Overeaters. These stack, so having on multiple pieces is good. Poison resistance is a good second place, especially if you're still grinding for T65 and Funky Duds isn't active yet because it needs a full set of armor. Under minor modifiers, there's a clear and definite winner with Sentinel, which has a 75% chance to reduce incoming damage when standing still, and the reduction percentage stacks, so you can get ridiculous amounts of damage reduction from a minor effect. If the rolls aren't in your favor, there are some carry capacity utility modifiers or damage procs onto melee attackers. The build does not need chems to function, so taking a performance enhancing drug is all bonus. The recommended chem is Psycho Buff for huge offensive and defensive buffs and plus max HP. If you want to commit to chems for events and big fights, you could consider the endurance perks as shown. Also take Chemist in Intelligence for your camp or crafting perk loadout. Keep in mind that while you can craft Psycho Buff, you cannot craft all the subcomponents leading up to it. Food buffs are not required and up to your preference. I would recommend a Blood Bug steak for the max HP buff, but the meat doesn't drop from blood bugs due to a bug.
It just works.
Only one piece of meat spawns on the map at a time, with a further random chance to find meat at certain vendors. Perk customization options include dropping one of the heavy gunner cards for blocker to increase defenses. If you're done grinding levels, you can drop inspiration for bodyguards. And for people who only want to run energy weapons, you can drop bandolier and take rank 3 lock and load instead. So how does one play a vampire heavy gunner build? Quite simply, find a bunch of enemies, try to get them all in the same area, and take turns shooting them all in the head at short range. Use the adrenaline buff for the whole fight. The playstyle is very relaxed because you are so tanky. Take your time and get your shots in. These super mutants were all killed with less than one clip of 50 cal ammo. Once you upgrade your weapon to a prime receiver, you can do respectable damage to scorched beasts and scorched. You notice the scorched health dropping from the reactive plates proccing on every attempted light scratching. Lower level enemies like these mole miners don't stand a chance. Even running in and starting a fight at point blank range, you can see my health never goes below 95%. And this fight also used less than one clip of 50 cal ammo. I'd like to thank a few streamers and their communities for either teaching me about the game or simply encouraging me to make this video. I don't stream with any sort of schedule or regularity, so I'll drop some links in the description for these fine folks instead. Until next time, cheers people, Teldae out.